Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. Ay, 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 ay. I don't know what else to say. Da, 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 na, 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 na. All right. I hope that was entertaining.
They were like, we need the first episode to drop already.
Hi, guys. Welcome back to This and Yap, a podcast. Welcome to the interlude episode of Chat Time with Brie, aka me. As you saw on our Instagram posts, we unfortunately can't film for probably the next 2 weeks due to life. And for example, Jeanette got stuff going on. I got stuff going on. I will be traveling. So I'm traveling actually to go see my sister because she's getting married, which is crazy. We're going dress shopping, which I'm excited for. But how emotional I've been is literally every single time I think about my maid of honor speech, I start getting teary eyed and crying, and I'm like, I gotta stop. So we thought it would be really cool to do an interlude episodes with chat times with each of us. So of course you're in my episode first. Woo! But and then the next following week, Jeanette will be posting one herself. And we're really excited. We just thought it would be a nice topic to like talk about certain things with us and about honestly whatever and anything that we kind of think it's a good idea to talk about. Do I have any idea what she's talking about? No. Do I? I mean, now I do, but like before, absolutely not. um, but yeah, we just thought it would be really cool to have this opportunity to do this. So, welcome in to Chat Time with Bree and on This and Yap, a podcast. Okay, another point here. So, I honestly think from our past 3 episodes, if you haven't watched already, I really recommend. We're on YouTube and Spotify. You can listen or you can watch. Either way, they're both kind of entertaining and chaotic in its own specific way. But I thought we would talk about mental health, but specifically a little bit of mental health and a little bit of therapy because I've been through it a few times. And I know in the previous episodes that we've have posted so far, I have brought it up a few times. And I'm just sharing my experience. So I want to disclose like I am not a professional who has 1,000% of knowledge about this. I am just sharing my experience of how it's been from like the past to now and everything. And um, recommend if you ever have a thought of like maybe I want to try therapy, please talk to a professional, your doctor, your psychiatrist, just someone who's in that field. I really recommend talking to someone who's professional. But anyways, so therapy. I have been in therapy 3 times. So the first time I was around 7 to 9 years old. So to disclose, my parents did get divorced at a really young age in that timeline. And after they got divorced, it was a lot. In terms of like, I didn't think as a kid I acknowledged the emotions or what was going on really. I think it felt like a wave of just so many events happening at the same time. And I was just like trying to keep up per se. And I was just more like, I was really young. I was still trying to understand what was going on. And we did have some traumas. And which is fine. But I didn't feel like I knew that I had trauma or a loophole. But to be fair, part of my brain still to this day can't remember a certain part of that timeline when the divorce was happening. So clearly my mind was kind of protecting itself, which the mind's powerful, guys. So if it could do that, of course it does a bunch of other stuff. But um so I went to therapy and I was really young and I didn't understand the first time what the purpose was trying to be served in that moment. And I was just like, okay, I feel like I'm just talking to a stranger about things. And I just felt like I was just having a conversation about someone about my day. But I didn't really have an acknowledgement of my emotions. I was just kind of like, I still don't understand what this is. I don't know what to say. And it was kind of whatever. And then I stopped going at some time. I don't remember what that was, but I know I stopped. And then, time passed. I got older, left for college, and that is the second time I went to therapy. It was actually in college. It was, if you haven't seen our third episode about first loves and heartbreaks, that was the second time I went to therapy. Because I was in a really bad mental state. I was really depressed. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. I wasn't taking care of myself, which obviously during a breakup, who does really take care of themselves? Um, at least for me, I didn't, or not a great job. So it is what it is. You live and you learn. But I decided to go to therapy again, and I went to the one in my on my campus in college, and I met with this lady, and it was great. But I started learning more about my emotions. I didn't even realize or acknowledge, and then I started actually putting things together in terms of like my past. External events do affect how you act now. Um, and a lot of the past events that happened, minus the divorce and everything, but like other things, like really played a role into like talking about my breakup and everything. Because, like, for example, something I'm not great at, still not great at, I'm not great with change. And we had to really learn, I had to learn just like how to navigate that in the easiest way possible. Didn't cure my problem of it, that I stuck at change. I still do, but just learning about that process and kind of taking it piece by piece, because I used to be the person who took it all at once, and I was navigating this new change of being single for the first time and going through a breakup and learning how to be without someone for the first time. So I was learning about myself. I was learning who I was in that therapy session, and understanding like I need to take time to like learn my identity and who I was. And that really made me think like about a lot of my emotions and how I get really stressed or have anxiety and all that stuff, and it really plays an effect. And I really started to learn in therapy about myself and like why certain things happen or how to respond to certain things. Because I was slowly, not fully, but I was slowly putting in the work. But I also was kind of also being that type of person, not so like, yeah, whatever, I heard it. I just need to stop doing this and I'll solve my problems. That was me not putting the full work in. And I was just like, okay. But I still learned a lot. And then I stopped therapy again. And finally, now, present day, I've been in therapy now. This is my third time. Been in therapy now for I think 2 years. I've taken breaks in between because there's times where I was like, I feel like I got my life and I'm good and I can navigate everything. And there's a lot of things that happen in an event or shit hit the fan, and I go back to therapy. Um, and I also really want to acknowledge right now is that I know everyone has a really different way to navigate if they should do therapy or not, and it's a decision. It's a leap of faith, because it's like what we said in our previous episodes. You have to be willing to put in the work to take care of yourself and learn about your trauma experiences and why you act the way you are, and finding healthier coping mechanisms. Um, I'm not saying I'm perfect, because there's some I'm just like no, because I'm stubborn. Um, but when you really put in the work, it's worth it at the end, I will say. And I wanted to also say, like, it's hard to find a therapist. Like, it's not, thankfully for me, the third time at least, I was able to find my therapist, like, by one, like, it was like the one person I had, and I was like, she's it. Like, she fits the vibe. It's easy to talk to her and everything. And I know for many others, like, it takes trials. It takes trials to find the right therapist for you, because you want to make sure they fit your needs and wants of like what you want to talk about. And I just really want to acknowledge that like there's some people who found their therapist like perfectly, and that's great. But sometimes finding a therapist does take time, or even a facility. Like, don't put don't get yourself overwhelmed that you haven't found someone, because you will. It just takes time, and I think it's better to be picky in those situations, because you want to find the right person that fits you and understands you, what you're trying to understand about yourself. Like, it's a big commitment. I really want you guys to take that time in consideration when you do feel like, yeah, I think therapy is the move. Um, but like I said, so thankfully I found my therapist. Like she was perfect right off the bat. I was happy with her, and I really started to dig deeper, like past traumas and understanding why I'm the way I am, why I have anxiety and depressive episodes. And trust me, I was super stubborn. I mean, I still am, but I got stubborn on trying to solve these problems and understanding how I should navigate them with my therapist. And a big thing, for example, was like admitting that I need to get on medication. Medication's hard in terms of like accepting that it's gonna help you. Because now I'm on medication. I've been on it for like 2 years now, and it's been lovely. It's been really supportive for me, at least for like anxiety, and I've never felt more at ease about a lot of things. But in the beginning, when she brought it up a few times, like maybe we should try it, I'll be like, no, I want to try everything else and that, because I felt like it was a sense of failure if I went on it. I went on medication because it made me feel like I can't handle everything by myself, or like, so literally I would try every single coping mechanism that I could until I really needed it. So what was crazy is that how I actually got on it was because of, unfortunately, with a big heavy like event that occurred in my life that kind of hit me in rock bottom mode. I was like, yeah, I need to get on this. It's time. But it made me feel like I lost, like, or I couldn't take care of it myself. But I think that's kind of the realization where I need that it was okay for me to accept additional help, meaning medicine or an extra support system, therapy. Like, therapy is realizing, like, it's a step for you realizing, you, okay, I need some extra help, or I really want to talk about this, and I need someone who has is in that field of knowledge to do that, and that would be therapy. And, therapy is not everyone's cup of tea. It wasn't easy for me in the beginning. So it's just realizing that taking that step, it's okay to ask for help. I struggled with it in the beginning, but now in my mid 20s, I'm still trying to understand my life and certain events or why I respond certain ways still. But the difference now is that I have built a better support system with therapy, medication, my family, friends, like understanding my situations and like my just my mental health is really, it's a lot more important, and my priority to myself is a lot more important, because I used to put myself as like second and I should be number one. It was such a heavy turnover, and it's like rewiring your brain to letting yourself accept that help and accepting that it's okay to be emotional and vulnerable and understand your emotions. Because of course, like for me being in the Hispanic community, like I had mentality in the past of like, you got to suck it up, you got to keep your head down and work, you got to do this and this, and it's like, no, not really. Yes, you could do everything that you want to accomplish, but it's also okay to acknowledge your emotions, and it's okay to know like there has been bad days, you're gonna cry or get mad, or you just like there life happens. That's kind of the sum of it. Life happens, and that is okay, that life happens. I'm in my mid 20s and life still happens, and I have no answers. I'm not like a good amount of answers of what life's gonna be like in a couple years. But and that's okay. I'm okay with that right now. I'm okay with how life is right now, and I'm glad. Um, but like I said, therapy and mental health is a big thing, and you really want to take the time to take care of yourself and figure out what you need and want in your life and what you need to learn about yourself. And it's a leap of faith, like I said. It's admitting that you need help, and that is okay that you need help. It's not a crime. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that you're lesser. It doesn't mean that you can't take care of your life all by yourself. It's okay to lean on someone or talk to someone about it. That's not your friends or your family. Kind of like therapy for me is like kind of like having an unbiased person hearing everything about what's going on and kind of giving me a different perspective that could be a little bit more helpful. um, But again, it's a heavy thing, and it's knowing that whenever you feel ready, go ahead and take a shot at it. If you don't feel like you need it, that's also great. As long as you continue to take care of yourself in healthy ways, then you're thriving. Obviously, I mean, no matter what, you're always going to thrive. But it's good that you have that strong-headed, you know, sense of yourself and who you are. Is always a great thing. Life advice. I guess some tips. Besides therapy, I of course obviously have other coping mechanisms that I've learned that help me and suit me. I'm a massive bookworm, so I have a bunch of books that I read during my free time, listen to music, take a walk. I call them wellness walks because I just need a sec to breathe and be in fresh air. I sketch, I paint, but the biggest thing is that I wrote poetry about my emotions sometimes, and I also journal. I kind of just, it's like trauma dumping in a journal, and it's kind of like it's in a place that I'm able to release my emotions in some perimeter, and it's really nice. And I get to just write it all out and then close it up. It's away, it's out of my brain, you know? Even if that means, like, for example, I've written like letters to people that hurt me or no longer in my life, and like just kind of like saying what I wanted to say because it's helpful to get that out. So that's also ways why I journal. But make sure you find your healthy coping mechanisms of how you take care of yourself. Some people do a nice skincare routine or like spa treatments. That's also healthy. Retail therapy is helpful. Not always the best money wise, but it's great. I mean, I've done tattoos, obviously, as my own therapy too. I love it. It's fun. Um, but yeah, like, just be okay with knowing it's okay to ask for help, and it's great to take care of yourself and make yourself the number one priority. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me in this chat time. I hope you enjoy. Please follow us on Instagram. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify for this episode, along with our other episodes if you haven't watched. Thanks so much, and tune in next week for Chat Time with Jeanette. All right, bye.